Welcome to the Streamlit Crash Course. In this video, you'll dive into both the theory and practice of building with Streamlit. First, we'll introduce you to the Streamlit web framework and show you how to create interactive web application using pure Python. Next, you'll learn how to develop your apps both locally and on the cloud. We'll cover everything from setting up your coding environment from scratch to deploying your Streamlit app. We'll then explore the Streamlit Gallery, which is a great place for sparking your inspiration. Finally, we'll provide resources to help you troubleshoot and get unstuck. So without further ado, let's dive in. So with Streamlit, it's fast and easy to build web apps. Typically, when you want to build a web app, you'll probably use Python frameworks such as Django or Flask. However, the learning curve is quite steep and that you might have to invest a lot of time in learning the principles and also the design. Streamlit takes a lot of the heavy lifting of this and allows you to use pure Python in order to create your web app. So essentially, you'll see here in the cartoon illustration that Streamlit allows you to create your web apps just by writing Python scripts, and then you'll get the web application. So what is Streamlit? Streamlit is an open source web framework in Python that turns data scripts into shareable web application in literally minutes or even seconds. And as already mentioned, there is a steep learning curve when you want to develop web applications using traditional web frameworks. And so you could think that Streamlit allows you to focus more on your data and model instead of having to think about how you would adjust pixels of the web elements. So in this simple illustration here, you're going to see that with a couple of import statements and also with the st.write method, you'll be able to write out text and also display charts in only a few lines of code. And so what are some of the prerequisites that are required? Well, if you have basic Python knowledge and you're able to write Python scripts to perform specific tasks, such as, for example, taking several Excel files as input and then combining them into a single file, then you'll be able to easily transfer those skill set into developing your own web application using Streamlit as the UI. So installing Streamlit is as simple as pip install Streamlit, and then if you want to see the demo, you could type in Streamlit hello into the terminal command prompt. Or if you would like to install it using Conda, you could do Conda install and then Streamlit. So Streamlit is compatible with the Python data ecosystem. So you could use established Python libraries such as Bokeh, Altair, PyTorch, Pandas, TensorFlow, Scikit-learn, NumPy, Plotly, Keras, Matplotlib, Vegalite in your web application. And as already mentioned, you could use pure Python to develop this web app. Hundreds of thousands of developers are using Streamlit for various use cases, ranging from science and technology, natural language processing, computer vision, finance, business, for data visualization, for geography, for education, for bioinformatics, for biology, and the list just goes on and on. Streamlit is used by some of the world's top data science groups such as Stitch Fix, Uber, Yelp, Vegalite, Google X, Insight Data Science, and many more. Here are some of the guiding principles of Streamlit, in that it allows you to embrace scripting, and the API would literally do its magic by converting the Python syntax into the web app elements. You'll be able to add interactive widgets that will allow you to take in data inputs, image, audio, and then you could literally convert that, pre-process it, build a model out of it, build a chatbot, and several more of the use cases, all in Python. And so if you could come up with the idea, you could make that into a tangible form by creating the app and then deploying it to the cloud. So in a nutshell, a Streamlit application starts off as a simple script file that you could create using Python. So you could create app.py, and then inside you could use the import statement and then literally just write up your workflow in Python. You could add interactive input and output widgets in order to accept input from the user, pre-process that, and then make the output that the user will be able to see and interact with. So the great thing is that your user does not have to be a coder. They don't need to know how to program. So if they could use the mouse to point and click, that's all that is required. And so it is empowering you, the developer, to have your user or stakeholders engage and provide feedback and also to gain understanding out of the data or model that you're trying to present in a streamlined workflow. So take this cartoon illustration as an example here. You'll be able to just write out 2 lines of code to create your Hello World application. So that'll include printing out import streamlit as st, and then followed by st.write, and then hello world. And that's literally all that is required. And then you'll get a hello world application. So in order to run the app, you could type in the terminal prompt, streamlit run app.py. And so based on that cartoon illustration, this is the actual screenshot. So you run the code here, streamlit run, and then you'll be able to see the web application. So all of this literally in seconds. And as already mentioned, you could create your application locally. You could also create it on the cloud. You could create it on the browser, such as ST-Lite. You could self-host your Streamlit application. You could also host it on a cloud server, such as Streamlit Community Cloud, Hugging Face Spaces, and several more. So you could literally go from code to hosting it to the cloud to sharing the application in a streamlined workflow. And if you would like to learn about Streamlit and actually get it up to speed in using Streamlit, consider joining the 30 Days of Streamlit Learning Challenge. You could go to 30days.streamlit.app in order to get daily learning challenges on Streamlit. There's also a blog tutorial called the Streamlit Quest, which provides all of the links and learning resources for you to get up to speed in using and learning Streamlit. So check out the blog using the link provided here. We'll start by creating a working directory. Then we're going to use cd to change to this directory. Then let's add this to the workspace in the sidebar. Create the Streamlit app.py file, which we'll use shortly. Now create a new content environment called Crash Course that has Python 3.12 installed. Press Y to confirm. Activate the conda environment. Pip install Streamlit. Let's resume the creation of the Streamlit app.py file mentioned earlier. Here, we're going to import Streamlit as st. Then we're going to display the app title using st.title. And then we're going to launch the app with Streamlit run streamlit app.py. I'll now turn to the Streamlit documentation for details on various Streamlit methods. There's also a lot of code snippets to get us started. Here, we're going to select st.header. Let's add some more text using st.markdown. Let's sprinkle in some interactivity with a slider widget. Then we can display the return value by calling the variable. We can also add descriptive text to add clarity. How about stylizing the text? You can change the color to red, to orange, green, and many more. Here we're going to make the text red and also blue. Want to adjust the app layout? You could use st.columns. How about data visualization? Well, Streamlit supports several chart elements, such as Matplotlib, Plotly, Altair, and many more. Here, we're going to use the built-in st.area chart. Before proceeding further, let's first install the prerequisite libraries such as Pandas and NumPy. Then we're going to relaunch the app again. Want to add a sidebar to the app? You've guessed it, we're going to use the st.sidebar. We're going to give it a header of About App. And then we're going to write a small text below. And there you have it. In only a few lines of code, you'll be able to create an interactive data app that looks pretty good. And all of this using just pure Python. To deploy a Streamlit app, what you want to do is create a GitHub repo to house all of the files to your Streamlit app. And an easy way to get started is to go to the Streamlit App Starter Kit, which is hosted on GitHub. And you could go ahead and click on the Use This template, and it will allow you to clone the directory hierarchy and also all of the necessary files that you'll need to deploy a Streamlit app to the Streamlit Community Cloud. So here we're going to just put in the name of our repo. Let's go ahead and say my hello world app. And then we'll just leave it as public. Click on create repository. All right. And so this is the repo and it's named as my hello world app. And you're going to see that it has the dev container here, which provides the necessary files for other users to spin up a GitHub code spaces. We have the .streamlit folder here, and inside we have the config file, and it allows you to define the color of the text and the background. And then the README is, well, the first file that you see when you go to the repo. So you can provide additional information to the app here. The requirements.txt file is essentially a file that lists all of the packages that you want to be installed on your Streamlit server. So here, the default is Streamlit 1.26 or beyond. I'm gonna change this by deleting it, and so it will use the latest version, but you could fix it to the version that you like as well. And let's say that you want to install other packages, you could just type it in here, something like that, and then you could save it. And then this is the Streamlit app.py file. So you could go ahead and modify this. I'll just go ahead and say my hello world app. And I'll just save it. All right. And the next step is I want to deploy this to the Streamlit Community Cloud. So let's head over to streamlit.io/cloud. And for those of you who haven't already started, you could sign up for free. Click here. I have already signed up, so I just click on sign in. I'll click on continue to sign in. I'll use my Google account, which you could also do the same as well. And don't forget to provide authorization to access your GitHub account as well, which will be needed to access the repo mentioned previously. Go ahead and click on continue with Google. And this is the dashboard upon logging in, and I want to deploy the app mentioned previously, so I'll go ahead and click on Create App. So I'll go ahead and click on the left button here in order to select the repo that I've created and mentioned earlier on. But if you want to select from the template mentioned here, you could also do that as well. And here, I'll go ahead and type in data professor, which is my GitHub account user ID, and then I'll type in my hello world app. And then this is the default name. I'll change it to my hello world app, and then click on deploy. And within a minute, you should be able to see your app spun up, and then you can share the app to your friends and also to the world. And there you go. Your app is spun up. And at the bottom right-hand corner, there is the Manage App button here, which will allow you to see all of the things that are happening on the server hosting this Streamlit app. And it's working properly. And if there's any error, you should be able to see it right here, which will be very useful for debugging your errors. And so that's all. For deploying your Streamlit app, it's just that easy. So let's head over to your own user profile. Click on your code spaces. And then here, I'm going to use a blank template to get started. Go ahead and click on use this template. And in another video, I've shown you also how you could use GitHub Codespaces for your data science project. You could also check that out. And here we're focusing on creating your Streamlit app. And so this is the theme that you could select from. We'll go ahead and click on the dark modern one. And we'll start by installing Streamlit. So you could use pip install Streamlit. And this should take only a few seconds. In the meantime, I'm going to create a new file. I'll call it streamlit_app.py. And this is the app file. I'm going to type in import Streamlit as st. And then I'll have st.title. And then I'll add an emoji, a balloon. I'll say hello world. Save it. And then I'll launch it here. Let me close this. I'll type in Streamlit run. And then Streamlit_app.py. Enter. And it's going to spin up your Streamlit app, but give it a few moments. And the external URL is right here. If you click here and paste it into the browser, or you could just click here in the opening browser. And it will be giving you this automatically generated URL for your code spaces. And voila, this is your Streamlit app, hello world, with the emoji. If you go back to the code here and you make some additional changes, like hi, and then make it capitalized, hi world, save it. Go back. It detected that the file has changed. So you could go ahead and click rerun or always rerun. And you'll notice that the text has changed. And so that's it. You are now able to create your Streamlit app on the cloud right inside GitHub. If you're stumbling upon writer's block, but then for app writing block, then you might want to find inspiration for the next Streamlit app that you want to create. And so going to the app gallery on the streamlit.io/gallery website will allow you to be inspired from what the community is building. And so here, there's a large collection of applications in the gallery for you to check out. So it is conveniently grouped according to the various categories here. And you could drill down through the various categories, take a look, and you could access the underlying GitHub repo in order to reproduce the app and then modify it to your own desire. And as always, you should provide credit to the original developer of the application, and you could use it as a source of inspiration. And for your convenience, we've also included the number of views of each application here. So these are the favorites. There are the trending apps that are going viral with a lot of views on the Streamlit Community Cloud. There are large language model apps such as the MathGPT, ChatGPT with memory, LLM example, Llama 2 chatbot, Gita GPT quick start app using LangChain, and there's several more, and is offered across various pages. And there are Streamlit apps that are Snowflake powered, so check them all out. Lots of very interesting apps are shown here. Data visualization apps. Lots of great apps here. Geography, you could create a pretty map using this awesome Streamlit app here. Shoushang also has a lot of great GIS themed applications. You should definitely check out his YouTube channel as well. There's a lot of great tutorials there. Sports and fun. Well, there's a lot of fun games that you could create using Streamlit app. I think someone has created an RPG game, a Wordle game, a, like Wheel of Fortune, Hangman, Jeopardy type of game, and several more. And even, apps that are for visualizing the galaxy, for visualizing stars, for drug discovery, for, protein structure visualization, for natural language processing, large language model, chatbots, in finance, in business, for data analytics, for data science, and, several others as well. And you could definitely check all of them out in the Streamlit app gallery. So you could go to streamlit.io/gallery and get inspired from the community. And who knows, maybe your app will be featured in this gallery. And don't forget to go to the Streamlit forum to share your app creation. So head over to discuss.streamlit.io. And as always, please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and as always, happy Streamliting. When developing your Streamlit apps, a great resource to have handy is the Streamlit documentation. You could go ahead and go to streamlit.io, click on the docs, and you'll be directed to the Streamlit documentation. Here you have everything to get you started. Information on the core concepts, API references for each of the Streamlit methods, tutorials, quick reference, information on deployment on the Streamlit Community Cloud, using Streamlit in Snowflake, and also deploying to other platforms like Amazon Web Services, Azure, and so on. There's also a FAQ section as well. Let me show you an example. If you go to the API reference here, all of the Streamlit methods are conveniently categorized into their functions. So if methods are related to writing out and displaying text in the app, it's going to be found in the write and magic and also in the text elements. If you want to display data, it's in the data elements. If you want to display charts, it's in the chart elements. And it's supporting all of the major data visualization libraries like Altair, Bokeh, GraphViz, Plotly, PyDeck, Matplotlib, Bakelite. There's also a wide selection of input widgets for you to use to add interactivity to your apps. And let's have a look at some of them. If you click on, you'll be able to see the information about what does the method performs, all of the available parameters, what does each of the parameters do, the data type that is required to be assigned to the parameter. There's also a code snippet, which you could copy, and then you could conveniently paste it into your Streamlit application. There's also a demo app for you to see how the particular method is like. And if there is a video available, there's a link to the video as well. So the Streamlit documentation is a great place for you to develop Streamlit applications. Another great resource is the forum. You could access it by clicking on Community, clicking on Forum. The direct link is discuss.streamlit.io. And here you could post questions about issues or problems that you're encountering with your application. You first need to log in. You could use your GitHub or Google account, post your error, provide all of the necessary information, and it would be great if you also provide a minimum working example so that others in the community could reproduce your error and then provide a solution. We also have a FAQ post that will allow you to solve commonly asked questions. And all of them are conveniently available in this particular category. And if you have created some amazing apps, please feel free to share them in the Show the Community. And so with these two resources, you'll be able to get unstuck in no time. Thanks for watching until the end of the video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and as always, happy Streamliting.